Everywhere, this is for
you. Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
Yo, what's going on, man?
What's happening, Black?
Ain't nothing much, man. It's been a what, a week, 2 weeks now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're gonna get in a quick show, man, and talk about what's going on with these Eagles, man. What's your thoughts so far?
So, I mean, you want to start with the trade? We can jump right in. Like, honestly, it's two types of people in the world. Well, it's three types of people in the world. It's the people who love the trade. It's the people who hate the trade. And it's the people who ain't too upset about the trade, but they think that, like, it don't matter what we got from the trade, how we still doing the picking.
Right.
So I know you number three.
Yeah.
Myself, I think the Eagles fleeced the Saints. Like, if we being honest, what's going on, John Jones? How you making out tonight? I think the Eagles actually, you can't say won the trade, but I think, like, if you look at everything that moved,
right,
everything the Eagles gave to the Saints, what the Saints gave back in return, the Eagles definitely made out in this trade, right?
Yeah.
So the Eagles made out in this trade. Now it's up to the Eagles to actually take the pieces that were acquired in this trade and make use of them. Right. If we had a GM that I had 100% faith in, I would be even more ecstatic about this trade than I am now. Right now, I want to see how the Eagles maneuver and move and what happened and how Howie uses these extra picks. Because I wasn't a fan. I've always, in our chat, I've never been a fan of having three first round picks. I wasn't a big fan of the 3 first round picks. Thank you, John. We appreciate your support. This is Swirv. That's my partner, Black. We on early. We have Brandon and Joe coming on with their mock draft right after us. So we got about 2 hours of some info. We got about 2 hours of back-to-back sports talk going on for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, John Jones. So the 3 picks, I wasn't a big fan of having 3 picks because I said 3 first-round picks, that would be the first time Howie hit. And he would hit on all 3 picks in 5 years from now, we'd be jammed.
Right.
So I wasn't necessarily sold. I think now, and my thoughts are Howie might not be done, but I hope it's not for a quarterback. I hope it's not for a quarterback. I hope you didn't acquire those extra first-round picks to move up to grab a quarterback. I think he still might be moving up, but I just hope it's not for a quarterback.
Right. But here's the issue with all of this, right? Here's the issue with all of this. The team, right? We can all debate, we all know how he does. He likes to trade. I don't really care.
He's a numbers guy.
He's a free agent guy. I don't have any problems with that. My problem is if you look across the entire team as it's constructed right now, there are holes on each level.
In a lot of places. Everywhere.
Of this team. Everywhere. And, even though people say, well, the line is strong, well, Kelsey is older, right? Kelsey can go either next year or the year after that, right? Lane Johnson is getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Fiamalu has injury issues. Right, great. They might have some depth, but what's behind that? So that's the offensive line, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a really good running back right now. Even though I like Miles Sanders, he's injury prone,
Yeah, he's
right?
he's very injury prone.
At this point in Devontae Smith's career, he's still more of a 2 than a 1.
Yeah, we don't have a legit one.
At this moment, he's more of a 2 than a 1. Right. So now you need at least another receiver or two. Right, because you can't. For all intents and purposes, you can't rely on Reaver. We still don't really know what Quez Watkins is, right?
And Hightower is hit or miss.
Right, and then you look at that, and then you look at the tight ends position. Granted, yeah, they got Goddard, but they still need a second tight end. However, they're going to scheme that up, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So then you got that. That's quarterback. We all know the quarterback is in flux right now. We know that, and so you get to that point, and then you get to the defense. You still got holes on your D line. You still, you don't know what you're gonna get. The linebackers situation. Granted, they got White on a 1-year deal, but what does that say?
Yeah,
I'm not enthused by that at all.
No.
And then you look at the safety position.
Safety. He just asked if they get Matthews. Yeah. I don't think Stingley's in play. If that was the guy, John, because I think Stingley doesn't make it past Minnesota, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Stingley doesn't make it past Minnesota.
Then on the corners, you're relying on the 31-year-old. And granted, I love Slay, but he's 31. You still don't have number 2. You still don't have a number 2 cornerback, right? And you really need 3 again, right?
Yeah.
So it's at this point is like there's too many holes on this team, and that's why I was kind of like people. It's not that I dislike Trey because we all know what Howie does, but at the same time, we also know that he's done some things. I'm not going to say that hey, he hasn't done some things for the team over the years. I'm not going to say that, but where the team has been most deficient, I don't trust him.
Me either. I don't trust him, especially when it comes to drafting a wide receiver. Yeah. What's up, Cheesesteak? Now you addressed all the holes. Now I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Since we've been adults in our adult life, and this is pretty much the Andy Reid era through the Chip Kelly era on to this guy here. We've been told this dream, and we've been told that like the game is won in the trenches, right? The game is won in the trenches. But we just watched Joe Burrow get sacked 60 times this past year.
Right.
And lead his team to the Super Bowl. They didn't win in the Super Bowl. They didn't win a Super Bowl, but they were in the Super Bowl. But we just watched one of the worst offensive lines I ever seen in my life go through the playoffs. Burrow got sacked 8 times against Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So is this new style of play overrated?
I don't think it's overrated. I just think that we talked about this in the chat with Joe. It's like, yeah, you can say a lot of things about other teams, right, and that's granted. But at the same time, this team, whenever you see this team get beat, it's either at the linebacker level, or at the corner level, or the safeties missing tackles. And you know why that is? It's because they don't have premium guys back there.
Yeah, it's because he doesn't value certain positions. I don't think Howie's worth the 3-year extension,
no,
John.
Absolutely not.
No, he's definitely not, because the game is changing. Like, the game is changing. The whole thought process in the league is changing.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you have to have this great offensive line, or this. You don't have to win in the trenches anymore to be successful. Like we're witnessing that, and not saying that that's a good thing, but you have this money tied up. Not saying you don't need a line, period, but like I believe they keep telling us that, oh, we weren't big players in free agency because we spent that money last year on keeping Jordan. I believe signing Jordan was a great signing, right? But then you drafted Landon. You drafted Landon. He looks like he's going to be a stud. Kelsey, you got Kelsey, but Kelsey is old. So the line is going to be solid, and you have enough depth there to where you can move guys. I'm not going to say it's a plug and play line, but I'm saying it's better than what the Bengals have. But the difference between the Eagles and Bengals are where the Bengals don't have depth or they're not very good at that line. They're so explosive. So if that line does hold up any bit, just the slightest bit, they're going to gas you. Burrow's going to gas you and make you pay. So my thoughts is let's start spending money and addressing these weapons. Let's get some weapons because this is hurt. Like love or hate Hurts, he's here for at least he's starting. He's the starting QB. Right. So, but I don't want to unfairly judge him by he didn't have anything but Smith last year. He led the team in rushing last year. So let's go get him a weapon. And now I don't even want a rookie weapon. If you could package something and get a legitimate receiver here and give Hurts a fair shot, that's fine. Let's say I know I don't want this Brandon Crooks. I keep hearing Brandon Crooks. Nobody wants him. He's like 100.
They be signing to a 2-year deal in Houston. So
yeah, I was like, nobody wants him. Nobody wants him.
My issue is, you look, like I said, you look at how this team is constructed, right? And you see it. You have an opportunity. To me, it seems like every time he makes a trade like this, it's like he's avoiding accountability. That's what it looks like to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel as though he doesn't want to have the burden of having to explain why some of these draft picks, especially over in the last 3 to 4 years, have failed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm at a point where, and I'm at a point where it's like, look, man, it's not like I'm going out of my way to disrespect him. I don't. You need to prove to me as a fan, right, or the fan base, that you can. Granted, yeah, you did it in 2017. No one's taking that away from you. But out of those other 11 years, what have you done?
What have you done?
What
have you done? Shout out. Peace, Black Nine. Peace, Black Nine. Appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah,
appreciate you tuning in. I hope we get Honey Badger. We have holes at safety. We have holes in that defensive backfield that need to be filled. And I think he would be a big upgrade from anything we have at the safety position right now. John Jones, I think when Kelsey does retire, Dickerson's going to move over to center. I think that's the succession plan. I'm fine with that because he proved that he can play guard at a high level last year. But I think we have other guards that can play at a high level, and I think sliding him over would be the right call. Like we as a franchise, we've been blessed to have really good centers over the last 20 years. When Hank went down, we replaced him with Jamal. Jamal goes out, we replace him with Kelsey. We've been really blessed to have solid centers over the last 20 years. So I think they actually drafted that kid to play center. They saw something in him, but they said, while we have one of the best centers in the league, why not let's see if he could play at this level at the guard position, in which he proved to everyone last year he was definitely above serviceable at the guard. But I think when Kelsey does retire, he slides over to center and we don't miss a beat. Not saying we don't miss a beat because Kelsey is an all-time great. Saying we not miss a beat because that kid is, I think he's going to be that good and play that well at center. Yeah, we got to hold Howie accountable. I think
it's not happening enough. Like you can't sit there and tell me, granted, you're going to tell me that he got guys later But the reason the other part that people aren't looking at, especially this year, is he went for these guys and he didn't get any of them. And then when they couldn't get any of them, they automatically pivoted to the whole point of, well, our off season last year was our free agency. I'm like, no, we ain't done. Ain't nobody.
No.
You're not gonna play.
People don't want to play. Yeah, people don't want to come to Philly. If we keep this focus,
that's what it is.
People don't want to come play for this team right now.
Yeah, and it's like
it's not a destination.
They say, well, it's the quarterback because they're run heavy. I'm like, no, the team just ain't good overall.
Yeah, we're not a good team right now. Like, if we're being completely honest, we're not a good team. We have holes everywhere. Like you said, we have holes everywhere, right?
Yeah, and it's the only reason they made the playoffs last year is because of the quality of quarterback they played going down the stretch and the quality of the teams as a whole they played. You know what I'm saying? So you look at it, it's like nobody.
That was fool's gold.
I wouldn't want to come to Philly looking at how this team is currently constructed.
Yeah, it's fool's gold. We got in the playoffs last year. It was fool's gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were they really 9-7? Were they really a 9-7 team?
Oh, no. They were more of a 6. It was more 6-11. Just with a bunch of bad team. They caught a lot of breaks down the end at the end. You know, look at like the Saints, the Giants.
Yeah,
the Commanders,
the Commanders, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
it ain't no Hurts.
Go ahead.
Who was Hurts supposed to deliver the ball to? If you go watch a lot of those plays when Hurts was looking back, none of the receivers were open. We don't have receivers that beat coverage. This has been a consistent problem in Philadelphia since the McNabb days. They don't draft receivers that can separate from coverage. And it's like this, like you have to have confidence in a receiver to throw him the ball. You throw guys open in the league, but if I feel like I can't throw you open, I'm not going to throw you the ball. Like the greats do it. I watch Aaron Rodgers hit Scanlon in the hands with a pass, and Scanlon dropped it. Aaron Rodgers didn't go back to Scanlon the rest of the game. So, and then it's like Hurts is already playing for his Eagles career. So the last thing he wants to do is hit Rager when Rager should catch the ball, and then Rager doesn't make the play he's supposed to make. And y'all going to kill Hurts on it when, like, it's not always his fault. It's not always Hurts' fault. I watched that with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston threw 25 interceptions 2 years ago. And of the 25 interceptions, 13 of them hit his receiver's hands. But guess who they blamed those all 25 on? So Hurts is playing secure. He's trying to protect the ball because he has receivers who don't make plays and can't get open.
I look at it, man, like the quarterback is a part of the issue, but he's also not. It's almost you got to look at him both sides. You know, quarterback, you know, he has to learn, but also at the same time, you got to look at it like, man, and I'm looking at the rest of the team, man. They're just not good. They're not a good team.
It's not. They're not offensively and defensively. They're not a good team.
You know what I mean? But we said that going into last season that they weren't good. You know,
Black line.
Yeah,
we won 9 games because we were blessed. We actually, honestly, if you think about it, the Eagles should have been an 11-win team because it's no way in hell they should have lost that game to the 49ers at the start of the season.
No.
And Hurts played absolutely horrible because in the Giants game. So that was 2 games we actually should have won. And then, the pick plays, I'm with you on that one. The referee seemed to have it out for us down in the red zone whenever we ran that pick play early on. Jeff, thank you for tuning in. We are all right. At best, we are all right. Like, At best, we are.
But is that the bench line that we're looking at, man? You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't even even I'm looking at, you know, just look at the last 4 years of transactions that have, you know, taken place with this team, man. You know, the look, and it's hamstrung the team in some ways. You know, you got the extension, the multiple extensions for JP, right? The stupid extension for Alshon, right? You know, everybody in the world knows that Rieger and JJ were lottery picks. They weren't actual, you know, scout picks. You know, and then you know, not addressing anything after Malcolm left, and he didn't have to leave. They forced him out. You know, because they didn't want to give him what he was worth at that time.
It's been a lot of horrible moves by the front office.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you can, I can give him credit for finding Mailata and, you know, Stout, you know, plussing him up and getting him ready. I can give him credit for that. I can give him credit for TJ Edwards being serviceable.
Yeah, TJ Edwards
for, you know, giving Boston Scott
a shot. Finding Maddox. I mean, he finds the diamonds, but you know, finding diamonds doesn't excuse you for blowing second round and first round picks. Like you can't draft a Rager and say, "Oh, well, I found a Mailata." It don't work like that.
It doesn't work like
that. It don't work like that.
Yeah, and that's to the point. I'm like, hey, man.
Bingo, Black Line. And that's what I'm talking about. The Chargers game wasn't that winnable, but let's go back. He said he had a 90-something yard completion play that didn't go for points on a drive because a receiver couldn't track the ball. And that's what I'm saying. Our receivers can't make simple plays. We have one receiver that would be a legitimate starter on any other NFL team. Any other NFL team, Quez Watkins, is it 3-4? Yeah. Philly said, Philly, we're sponsored by Bet Us, the podcast. Bet Us is offering 125% deposit matching up to $2,500. Sign up now and use code JOINUS125. The link is in the comments below. Shout out to Bet Us for sponsoring Philly podcast. We on the big things right now. We have a lot of things twerking. We got a midget stripper contest coming up at the halftime between shows. Now I just made that complete last part up. But yeah, we don't have receivers. TJ Edwards has been solid, but is TJ Edwards a starter on any other team in the NFL?
No.
TJ Edwards. Like, so we have these stopgap players, but they're not stopgap players because we're giving them multi-year deals. Greg Ward. I love Greg Ward. I love everything Greg Ward has done for the organization. I cheer for Greg Ward because Greg Ward is he reminds me a lot of Jason Avant. Like, he has a lot of Jason Avant tendencies. And he was the most sure-handed receiver we had. But it's Greg Ward. What other team does Greg Ward actually get playing time on in the NFL?
Yeah. And then you know, I would push back a little bit on the folks that say, well, you know, even on this point, they had picks 15, 16, and 19, right? That's what they had at the time before the trade, right? So then somebody will turn around and say, well, at least they'll still have 5 picks in the first, you know, 80, right, or wherever the case may be. Or was it 3 or 4 or 5 picks in the top 50, right? Or something like that. But I'm like, look, man, why would you? I want all my picks. If it's 15, 16, and 19, give me 15, 16, and 19. Because guess what? 15, 16, and 19 should play for you right now.
Yeah.
Right? They should.
Yeah.
What in your evaluations told you that you couldn't get at least 1 or 2 starters out of this draft? on the defense.
Yeah, we definitely needed it. But again, I was against having all three. I was definitely against having all three, so I'm fine with that. But I don't want you to. What I don't want is for you to make this trade and feel like you got some room to relax now because you got an extra pick next year. No, man, that's not it. We need to address the holes. We need to address the holes.
Yeah. I think the other teams, I think the free agents that were out there forced him to have to sit down because they were telling him by signing other places that, hey, we don't want to play for you.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I said. He would have hit on all three in 5 years from now. We would have been in salary cap limbo because this would have been the first time he actually hit on first round picks. Right. But we definitely need.
Think about that. Think about that, and think about what you said though. He is that bad at draft. He is below average at drafting.
Oh, he's definitely.
That is the reason for what you just said.
He's not a football guy. He's a numbers guy. He's an analytics guy, but he's not a football guy. Like if I need you to wiggle some room for my salary cap, he's the first person I'm gonna call. But if I need you to go get me a player that I feel though can come in and compete and contribute immediately, I'm not so sure he's the guy you want making that pick.
That is the weirdest thing. That is the weirdest thing that even
I agree, William.
The concept, like we can't hit on draft or players we drafted. So now he is risking. Now he's moving picks away because he can't draft.
Yeah, he can't draft.
That's a bad concept.
He was so scared of having to hit three. He was so scared that he was hoping he could trade out. Like I knew he was trading out a long time ago, and I don't think he's done trading out. That's the thing. I don't think he's done trading out. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles package something to move up to get one player, or if they
lose the other. Yeah.
And then they move even further back because there's value in draft picks. No, there isn't value in draft picks when your GM can't draft. There's value when the GM is out there nailing these draft picks.
Yeah.
There's no value in draft picks if you're still blowing them on draft day.
He's not good at drafting, man. Like
he's not.
And it is what it is. Like, I applaud him for all the, a lot of the free agency steals he's gotten and some of the trades. But God, like, if you can't draft, brother, get a guy in there that can do it. It's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm not great at changing tires.
Drafting. I can balance your checkbook,
but I can get somebody else to do it. Can you help me? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that we know if he is, but the results aren't showing that. I'm just saying, you haven't drafted other than Jalen Mills. When's the last time you drafted a decent cornerback? When's the last time you drafted a decent safety? When's the last time you drafted other than Kendricks, and he was decent when he was or Hicks, but those guys stayed hurt. You know what I'm saying? When's the last time you drafted
a stud linebacker?
Right. Yeah. It's too many things to look at. Granted, they won the Super Bowl. Great. But there's been years before that, and there's been years after that now. And that's how you put all this together to judge Howie.
There are plenty of teams that have been good at drafting.
The
Patriots were really good at drafting for a while. The Patriots were really, really good at drafting. And you know what the Patriots did?
The
Patriots drafted, and then they got a free agent, an older free agent that they needed that put them over the top. Pittsburgh was really good at drafting.
Ravens.
You said the Ravens. The Ravens. Ozzie Newsome was killing it in Baltimore.
Seahawks, whenever they do keep their,
Pete Carroll.
Yeah,
Pete Carroll got Russ. He got Russ in the third round.
Tennessee, Titans.
There's plenty of really good teams that drafted.
The 49ers.
We're just not a fan of them. You're a fan of a team who's not good at drafting. Look, Sidney Jones. You thought Sidney Jones was the next shutdown corner.
He drafted the man with a tore his Achilles, didn't he?
Yeah, it hasn't been 43 years. They drafted Jeremiah Trotter. He was a stud, but that was Andy Reid.
I think what he was saying is they haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round since the 70s.
In the first round, yeah. Who was that? Berg.
Since Jerry
Yeah. No, I mean, we haven't got a first round linebacker.
Yeah, even the Saints.
I like
decent at drafting.
Yeah, a lot of teams can draft and develop. A lot of teams draft and develop. Yeah. We unfortunately have drafted players that you can't develop, and that's where we're at with it right now. You have players on your roster that you can't develop. Or you draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside instead of DK Metcalf. But guess what? J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is the greatest blocking wide receiver in football history. So he has that. No receiver in the history of the NFL blocks better than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Just look. I mean, prime example, right? We can go back to the wild card game, right? We go back to the wild card game, and at the linebacker level, if you watched, Devin White and Quan Alexander and those guys, you don't even have to mention the other guys, just Devin White. Anything that was in the middle to the mid, the 5 to 8 yard range up to the line, Devin White was running everything down.
Yeah, Devin White side to side is a monster. He's fast. Like we don't have a Devin White on our team. We have a TJ Edwards.
Guys that's stopping the Eagles.
Yeah,
all the time. And I'm like, common sense would tell you I might not need to have 2 of those guys, but I obviously need one. You know what I'm saying? You need one of those guys at each level.
Like Devin White just ran 15 yards across the field and stopped a guy who looked like it was going to be an 8-yard play on a 3-yard gain. Like, we don't have that.
That was a lot. That was what the loss of Malcolm Jenkins really felt like to the Eagles, because they had a guy back there at the safety. He played so many roles. He played a nickel damn linebacker. He played a nickel corner. He played safety. The man played 99% of the snaps while he was in Philadelphia. And you let him go because of your bias towards age? When you know you're not good at drafting anything other than that.
And you don't have no replacement plan.
Right, none.
You don't have no replacement plan. I just be like, make it make sense, Howie. Like, make it make sense. Like,
that's what
I'll be trying to understand.
It's not.
It's
the little things.
I'm gonna go through these comments too.
Yeah, let me go.
See what he says. Let me go. Yeah, McDuffie, because he's undersized and went against trash receivers. I think if Kyle Hamilton is there, that would be a great pickup. But I don't think Kyle Hamilton is going to be on the board where the Eagles are drafting. I think you can pretty much take Stingley. Stingley ran 4.36 yesterday or the other day. I think you can take Stingley off the board. I think you can take Hamilton off the board. I think you can take Sauce off the board as well. So it's not going to be Sauce or Stingley. I think Sauce is going to be gone. I think Stingley's going to be gone. I think Hamilton is going to be gone. I like the kid. I think it's the kid from Clemson that's going to be out there. I like him. But it all depends. Our defensive coordinator's not the brightest guy, so it don't even matter what talent you bring in. Gannon has to learn how to be a coordinator. And until Gannon learns how to actually coordinate and use the talent that he has, it doesn't matter who we draft or what position we put him in, because they won't be in a position to be successful.
Right.
Last year's draft was great. Last year's draft, we got Smith, Dickerson, and Milton Williams. All three of those players came in and they look like they're ready to go and they contribute. They make contributions. They contributed to the team this year. That's the first time in a while you can look at the first 3 rounds of the draft and be like, oh wow, we had 3 guys that actually came in and made contributions to the team.
Right.
Because years prior we had a Rager in the first. You took Rager over Jefferson, so that pretty much, I don't care what you did after that. That killed the draft. Then 1 year you took Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf. That kills the draft. It doesn't matter what you do. Last year I will give Howie his credit. He made 3 solid picks. He traded back with the Dolphins. He traded with the Dolphins and we bagged Devontae Smith, which was great. He got Dickerson in the first round. Kid would have been a stud. He got Dickerson in the second round. He should have been a first round pick due to injuries. He slipped. We got him. And Milton Williams looks like he's going to play. He's going to be a solid tackle and going to be a key contributor on the defensive line this year. He looks like he's the 3rd guy in the rotation.
Driscoll's
I'm
good too. Yeah.
I'm happy with last year's draft, but doing that one time out of 11 isn't you're not gonna get big kudos from me. I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, you finally struck after 11 years. Like, where can you go 1 for 11 and that can be considered any type of success? Like, not even in baseball. Baseball, you got to get a hit 3 out of 10 times and you're in the Hall of Fame. Drafting for the NFL, I need Howie to do a little better. I'm not saying go get me a superstar every first round,
Right.
but I mean, you missed with Aguilar, or was that Chip Kelly? I'm not even that might have been Chip Kelly.
That's Chip. Yeah, it was Chip. But you don't. He for sure missed. He missed when let's say it was 2018, right? Yeah, it was 2018 when they went and drafted Donnell Pumphrey.
Yeah, over Alvin Kamara.
Like
Kamara sitting right there.
What about that? Because granted, yeah, he was the NCAA rushing champion, career rushing champion at that time, but that's not what you need. That man
was built like a straw.
They were thinking Sproles, but that was the wrong way to think. That was the wrong way to think. Kamara was the same thing. Kamara and better.
Yeah. Donnell Pumphrey weighed 132 pounds. That man was so skinny he choked on rice.
That man
nothing.
That man is an agent now.
Yeah.
Think about that. That was 2018.
That was 2018.
Right.
That was 2018.
He's a sports agent now. Think about that.
4 years. It only took 4 years for him to become an agent.
Right.
I would never sign to a guy who, like, I might got the same amount of rushing yards in the NFL as Donnell Pumphrey.
It's just
I don't know. I'm close.
Oh my God. Like now that I'm starting to really think about some of the mistakes, it's just like, man, like what was the thought process? Like, what was the thought process when you saw JP just bodies falling apart on the field, and you let him get you for $10 million twice when you saw?
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna bring him back and let him play guard. We're gonna bring him back in. And I'm the biggest Peters fan. I'm the biggest Peters fan ever. Yo, I'm gonna say this Rager over Justin Jefferson in the long run might be worse. It might be worse than drafting Mike Mamula over Warren Sapp, and then handing the Bucks Derrick Brooks a year later.
It is so bad. Just think about that. And then, let's go back to the year before that with JJ. They got to the point where they started. Sirianni had to say, "Hey, man, he is the best run blocking receiver.
He's the best run blocker. He's the best run blocker in the league. He's the best run blocker in the league." Well, move his run blocking ass to tight end.
Like, bro, like, just stop. Just
We need
get,
another tight end.
get a guy in there that can help you with your selection. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. It's just bad, man. It really is.
He's the best run blocking wide receiver
Of all
in
time.
football. Yeah, he's the GOAT. JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Now let's switch lanes now, man. So we gotta look forward. I mean, there's nothing they can do about it. I mean, there's still stuff they can do, but we gotta look forward to the draft, man. Like, what do you think he is going to do in regards to just, I think he has to come. Whatever he needs to do, I would be in favor of packaging up to going to get Sauce or somebody or Stingley, one of the two. But you cannot come out of this draft, this first round, without a cornerback.
So here's what I think. I think that the package is to move up and get somebody, or it's to gain somebody through free agency or not free agency, through a trade. So
I think you might have.
Here's
how. Wait, I'm sorry.
I think there's a few teams that need quarterbacks, right? I think the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Commanders. I want to call them by the right name. I think they're all going to be like in front of that are in front of the Eagles that need quarterbacks. And this is what I'm hoping. I wanted one of the Ohio State receivers. I actually like when they both ran 4.3. Wilson was supposed to be like super duper explosive, and he was supposed to be so much faster than Chris. But they both ended up running 4.3. I think he's the wild card at number 4, because I think if Atlanta goes receiver, then it throws the whole draft into a tailspin, similar to how it did when they took Kyle Pitts last year. But that's the Joe and Brandon thing. I'm not great. They doing a mock draft later, so I'm not great. Speak too much on it. I think what I see is that it all depends. Like number 4, the pick at 4 controls how this draft is going to play out.
Yeah.
If Atlanta goes receiver and another team goes receiver, I think the Eagles will trade further back, because I'm not sold on Burks. I watched him. He's big. He reminds me of Alshon Jeffries a lot, which is not a bad thing, but I don't think that's what the Eagles necessarily need. I think one of the Ohio State kids is on the books, and I'm still thinking that if those Ohio State kids go, I think that Jamison Crowder is still in play, but you don't have to.
You mean Jameson Williams?
I said Jameson Crowder. Jameson Williams is still in play, but I think he'll be there a little later. So I think that's the guy if both the Ohio State kids end up going, or if both the Ohio State kids end up going off the board early. I think somebody will grab Burks, but I the more film I watch on him, it kind of making me not want him here. Now here's some sleepers who I think if the Eagles don't get Stingley or Sauce, everybody, I want to stay away from McDuffie because just the whole Sidney Jones thing. I'm still bitter over Sidney Jones, right? So if you don't get Sauce and you don't get Stingley, I don't want McDuffie. I think what's the kid from Clemson? Booth Jr. I like Booth Jr.
Andrew Booth, yeah.
I like Booth Jr. So I think he'll be available. But I think if Booth is I think Booth you can slide back. Again, I think you can slide back and get Booth. I don't think you have to take them there at in the late teens. I think you can slide back a little bit and get Booth. Also, the safety from Georgia. If Hamilton's not going to be there. If you don't get Honey Badger and you want to address safety, I think you can get the safety from Georgia. Or there's a kid. Michigan had a halfway decent safety. I think those are day two guys that you can pick in the second round that can come in and actually contribute. Also, I still think what's the kid from Clemson we got last year or 2 years ago?
Kayvon Wallace.
Wallace. I think you got to level. You have to see how he looks in the You have to see how Wallace looks. But I would say this is how I think. If receivers go early, let's say Atlanta goes receiver, right?
Right.
Atlanta goes receiver. Either Carolina or Washington is going to take Kenny Pickett. So Kenny Pickett's going to go, right? Then you still have Chris sitting there. Then I think they might make a slight move to go grab Chris because I think Chris and Devontae together would be a great receiver combination. Let's say if receivers don't move, and let's say Carolina and Washington both go quarterback, Carolina, Washington, and Atlanta all go quarterback, I think you have Pittsburgh sitting back that would be willing to, let's say we get to 15. Let's say we get to like 15, right? And Kenny Pickett's going. What's the kid from Ole Miss? Coral's going.
Yeah.
And so you get you got Kenny Pickett's going, Coral's going, and Pittsburgh is sitting there and they're in love with Malik Willis, or they really like the Sam Howell. I think Pittsburgh will reach out just because if all three of them are going, like if three of those guys are going, if Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, and Matt Corral's gone, that leaves Sam Howell on the board. And unless they really like Desmond Reader, they got to go get their quarterback right now because Mitch Trubisky isn't the answer. So it's all about how it plays out. It's really all about how it plays out. But if you told me I could end up with Booth and either the offensive lineman from Iowa or
Lindenbaum, yeah.
Yeah, Lindenbaum, Booth and Lindenbaum, or you tell me I'm going to end up Thursday night we'll end up with Lindenbaum and the defensive end from Purdue. I'm kind of all right with that. Like, but I still think you have your holes, but you address, even though you don't need Lindenbaum, you address an area of need for next year. So Lindenbaum, Booth, Joe kind of sold me on the guy from Purdue. I'm not a big fan of the kid. I actually like the defensive end from Georgia a little better. Or if you get the linebacker from Utah, if you tell me I'm getting Booth and the linebacker from Utah, I'm fine with it because I think that the kid from Utah is a little bit. I think he's going to be a little bit more productive and he's a little bigger body than Nakobe Dean. I think Nakobe Dean's a stud, but he's 5'11". He has a lot of T.J. Edwards traits. T.J. Edwards was a dog in college, but that transition has been a little difficult at the next level. Not saying Nakobe Dean isn't better than T.J. Edwards, but it's a little like it gets closer to the draft. I start watching a little more.
Yeah.
But I mean, address corner. So if you can get Booth at 18, or if you can trade back and get Booth, I'm fine with that because I think Stingley and Sauce are out of play. Actually, the safety that Sauce played with should be there day two. Like you have them second round picks if that's how you go get the safety Sauce played with. But yeah. I want to address positions in need. We have a lot of positions in need. I just want them addressed. I don't care how we address them. Just address them.
At this point with this team, man, I'm not. Once that trade is done, I don't want to see any more trades going back anymore. Man up,
I think that
man up. If a team like Pittsburgh is coming up for a quarterback, guess what? You're giving me one of your starting defense or somebody a starter on your defense. You are giving me one of those guys. That's just the way it is. I'm not taking picks for 2023 or 2024 anymore. You suck.
no, it ain't.
You suck right
so
now.
I believe if that's how it plays out. It just all depends. If I think Atlanta controls the draft. Like Atlanta controls the draft. If Atlanta believes in Mariota, then they draft Garrett Wilson at 4. But if they're looking for a quarterback of the future, then that's when they make the move. They go get one of those kids. It's either going to be Pickett, Willis, or Coral or Howe. So that'll tell you, depending on what Atlanta does at 4. Atlanta at 4 is going to control what happens in this draft.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
If they go receiver, then everybody who needs a quarterback stands pat and relaxes, and everybody who needs a receiver starts to panic. Everybody who thought they were going to get a receiver starts to panic. But if they go quarterback, then that's when the Pittsburghs start to get weird, especially if that's when the Commanders. Thank you for tuning in, John Jones. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's when the Commanders and those guys that are quarterback needy start to panic. So, I mean, Atlanta controls pretty much the narrative, not the narrative, but Atlanta controls the direction of this draft again for the second year in a row. Because they have a pick. Like they went Kyle Pitts last year, and that completely swung the draft a whole different direction. So this year, if they go like they sign Mariota, which is cool. If they believe Mariota's the future, they obviously are going to go, in my eyes, wide receiver. Like they obviously should go wide receiver, and that would mean whoever they feel is the top wide receiver in the draft, which as of today, I think I have Garrett Wilson as the top wide receiver in this year's draft. That's his name, right? Wilson from Ohio State. I think it's Garrett. It begins with a G, I believe. I think he's the top wide receiver in the draft. So I think if they go wide receiver, other teams start to panic. If they go quarterback, other teams start to panic. So Atlanta, pretty much, because we know it's going to be Hutchinson and which I don't think Hutchinson and Neal, and then I like the tackle from North Carolina State. I think they're going to be the first 3 off the board. And then I think Thibodeau falls, but that's what I'm saying. It might be one of them things where Thibodeau falls because he just falls. Now, do you trade up? Do you package a deal to trade up for Thibodeau? It's going to be a weird draft because I know if I really believe Jacksonville should draft the tackle from North Carolina State, but they'll probably take Neal to protect Sunshine. I think Hutchinson is going to go to Detroit just because financially they'll sell a bunch of jerseys with a Michigan kid playing in Detroit. 3 and 4 control the direction and complexion of this draft. And that's pretty much what it is.
But, all right, man. Go ahead. We're gonna get at it. Go ahead and cut it short or get up out of here. Because you got Joe and Brandon coming probably shortly directly after us. So yeah, man. My last my last thoughts on it, man. I'm praying for our fans and I'm praying for the team because that's all I got at this point.
Yeah, we just gonna hope that come April there will be a lot of excitement. I'm praying. I'm praying and hoping that after this draft there'll be a lot of excitement, a lot of hype, a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. Just I think I'm hoping they nail it. Basically, I'm hoping they nail it. They give us something to look forward to, a lot of hope, a lot of positivity, a lot of excitement, a lot of oh wow, we went in this draft thinking we were going to be 6 and what is it 11, 6 and 11, but if we got some kids that can play and contribute, and maybe we'll get a sneaky free agent, sneaky undrafted free agent. And we can make some plays. Get Jalen some help, fill the holes out. I'm thinking it can be possible. Anything is possible. I'm just hoping that we get it together. Howie, call me if you need some football insight. I watch a lot of film. You can fly me out to watch some guys. I'm not going to draft Daniel Jones based off the Senior Bowl performance like that team up north, Jersey. But again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget, Bet Us is offering 125% deposit match up to $2,500 if you sign up now and then use the code JOINUS125. The link is in the comments. Philly TP Bet Us. Tell them Philly sent you. All us guys who like to wager a little bit, you know, you might as well get your first deposit match because it's pretty dope that they're doing that. So go check Bet Us out. I'm great. Go check them out. I didn't even sign up for it yet because I ain't been in PA in a while, but I'm about to sign up and then I'm about to throw it all on the Sixers to win the championship, you know. And shout out to the Kansas Jayhawks for coming back from down 15 to we didn't talk basketball or anything, but I want to shout out the Kansas Jayhawks for coming back and beating the Tar Heels and making my night. I actually would have won my bracket if the Tar Heels won, but me being the man I am couldn't have accepted that tainted money because I'm all about Duke. But shout out to Kansas. Howie, you got Howie. April is upon us. Joe and Brandon about to do this mock draft. Let's get it done. Thank y'all for tuning in. Shout out to my guy Black. Shout out to Joe and Brandon. Shout out to Philly the podcast. I'm gone.
Yes, sir.
B Scott with the Philadelphia
John
Eagles.
Dornbos here, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, we're just the Philadelphia Eagles.
Follow my guy Joe Castro on his YouTube/podcast channel.
Let's give a shout out to the Philly podcast.
Shout out Philly and my guy Joe Castro. So keep on doing great things, guys. Fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly.
Go Birds.